Today we're going to talk about how to master manifestation in preparation for Rosh Hashanah. What a topic. What a topic. So when I think of Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, I often think of the concept of time. I start doing an internal cheshbon nefesh, an internal accounting of my previous year. I ask myself, did I make the most out of last year? Did I grow, even if just in a baby step? And I also ask myself, how would I like to use my time wisely in this upcoming year? You know, it's a mind-blowing phenomenon how people's New Year's resolutions often end up unresolved. Why is that? Why is it that we're excited to get a gym membership, but after a few visits to the gym, we give up? The intention might be there. There's a desire, but something just doesn't allow for the manifestation of its success. That's because there's no real internal accounting going on. There's no real inner work leading up to Rosh Hashanah. And I can't tell you how powerful it is to do certain steps before Rosh Hashanah arrives. Rosh Hashanah is an auspicious time for setting wheels in motion for the upcoming year. In fact, Rosh Hashanah is the most auspicious time to do some real internal work with hopes that we will see our upcoming year manifest according to our initial intention, to our initial desire. According to Rabbi Trugman in his book, Becoming a Master of Time, he says that when human beings have direction and purpose in life, every moment is a unique opportunity to fulfill those aspirations. Purpose and a sense of mission is a fundamental cornerstone to becoming a master of time. Purpose and a sense of mission is a fundamental cornerstone to becoming a master of time. What does it mean, purpose? And what does it mean, a sense of mission? That's a big statement for those of us who are like, I'm just trying to pay rent. Like, what? I don't know. Right? And so I always say it's what's the next baby step in the right direction? What brings you connection? What fills your life with meaning? Even if it's to organize women's gatherings around bonfires or lead meditation, it doesn't have to be that your mission is what brings you the millions. Right? It just has to give you a sense of meaning. Right? I have a friend who she's known as the cat lady. Okay, she loves cats. She is constantly feeding the cats in the community. I myself, I'm not a cat person. I'm a dog person. Cats are not my thing. Some of them are cute, fine, not my thing. Don't judge me for that, right? And so her heart is so big and expansive that she has like almost 20 cats living with her in her home. Now, who am I to judge that, right? For her, I'm sure it fills her with a sense of purpose and a sense of meaning. So again, it doesn't matter what your source of meaning is or how big it is, but start doing that internal accounting to ask yourself, how can I implement one thing in my life this year, big or small, that I can hold myself accountable to because it makes me feel good? Rosh Hashanah is a mystical moment in time that cycles back every year, and it's filled with opportunity. Our job is to open our eyes and take advantage of this gift. All right, so how do we enter into the consciousness, the mindset of Rosh Hashanah? By embodying the understanding that Avinu Malkeinu, Hashem, God, Source, the Creator, is our Father, is the ultimate King. When we live with the awareness that God is King, we remember, because He birthed us, we remember that we are a bat and a ben melech. We are a daughter or son of the divine, of the king. And that consciousness can help us tap into the knowing that abundance is available to us at all times. Because what father does not want to give to their child? It's the mindset of Rosh Hashanah that allows us to embody the consciousness that we are standing under a faucet of infinite abundance at all times. Now, often we can shift and push ourselves out of being under that faucet, and we do it to ourselves. The faucet is always running. It is always running. We leave that faucet by getting out of alignment. We get out of alignment with that faucet of infinite abundance when we feel things like self-doubt, self-hatred, fear, anxiety, comparison, jealousy, when we complain, when we're trying to control an outcome, when we're unable to let go and just surrender to the king. That's when we're out of alignment. However, being in alignment means doing the work to experience a vibrational frequency of joy, love, connection, gratitude, appreciation. Rosh Hashanah is known to be a time when we're meant to crown God King, to put that king on our Creator's, so to speak, head. It's a time when we recognize that everything comes from God, both the good and the perceived bad. Even the things in our lives that we don't want, if we can say thank you for the challenges, if we can say thank you for the struggles and the pain, then we've tapped into a divine truth. We've tapped into the secret that all of that struggle is there with a divine message, a lesson meant just for you. There is nothing to be in despair over when you recognize that you are always being guided by a bigger force of love. If my child wants to play with a sharp knife, am I going to let him? No, of course not. He's 3. What am I going to do? I'm going to grab it from him as quickly as possible. I don't care how much he kicks and screams and tantrums. Right? Why? Because I know what's best for him. Even if in his world, in his 3-year-old brain, he's like, wow, my mom must hate me for taking away this knife. Okay, that's the mindset that we must tap into when we're experiencing troubles. We are meant to say thank you for everything, which is so hard to do when we're not grateful for what it is we have. So how can we say thank you for the divorce, the illness, the lost job? How can we say thank you for those things? And again, not always easy, but just getting into the beginning stage of understanding this concept is powerful. When we realize that everything comes from the divine, then we understand that obstacles are reroutes to a better destination. Obstacles are reroutes to a better destination. Everything God does is good. And as hard as it may be to digest this, that includes COVID, something we all just went through as a collective. Right? In fact, the name coronavirus is derived from Latin, meaning crown or wreath. If we can get to a place where we can even crown Corona, like the beer bottle logo, in case you never noticed, it's a crown, the Corona bottle. If we're able to put a crown even on the struggles, because we recognize godliness in those moments as well, then we're able to juice the gifts, the miracles out of any situation that life throws at us. It's a profound thing. So let's talk manifestation for a moment. In practical terms, God, as the ultimate creator, made us humans in his image, According to Jewish wisdom, we are made in Tselem Elokim. We are made in the image of God, which means we are a microcosm of this macro cosmic force, which means in us, in you, in me exists a God particle that has creative capabilities. If God, the ultimate creator, can create mountains and rivers and deserts and streams and babies and puppies and dolphins and oceans, and if he can create all of this, then us as a microcosm of that creative force, we have co-creative abilities. The Zohar states that Hashem created us with the ability to manifest. And he did this intentionally so that we would be inspired to live into our mission and purpose on this earth. If we didn't have manifestation abilities, we would be robots. There'd be no drive. There'd be no ambition to create anything. We would just stay stuck, which inherently must mean God gave us manifestation abilities. If he created robots or like angels who lack free will, right? Angels, their purpose is to just do the will of God. There's no free will. And if he created us like that, then we wouldn't be inspired to fulfill our missions, which is meant to play into his larger mission. The Midrash explains that according to Judaism, time is not a neutral, random, or inherently purposeless force in the universe, but rather from the beginning of creation, time is moving towards an objective. Time is moving towards a predetermined purpose, which is this messianic era, this era of geula, of redemption. It's a period in time, it's a consciousness, which some people actually are living with today, that messianic consciousness. It's a time when everyone will experience God's oneness and live in peace. No more war, no more pain, no more illness. Can you even visualize a world like this? On Rosh Hashanah, we eat honey because as cognitive behavioral therapists, advocate that when you merge and do an act with an intention behind it, you rewire your brain. So the act of eating sweet honey as a symbol for a sweet new year anchors the intention for a sweet new year into your subconscious. In fact, it's scientifically impossible for a bee to fly because its body is massive and its wings are itty bitty. So if it's impossible for a bee to fly, then honey, which a bee creates, is the fruit of the impossible. Honey is the fruit of the impossible, meaning it is what makes possibilities possible. Talking about the impossible, when I say impossible in this context with bees, I mean overcoming what seems impossible, transcending what seems impossible. Okay? Israel is known to be a land of miracles. We turned a desert into a thriving oasis of delicious fruits and vegetation. We turned the impossible into a living, breathing possibility. Israel is also known as, in Hebrew, Eretz Chalav Udvash, a land flowing with milk and honey. And if you look at the Rosh Tevot, the first letter of Eretz Chalav Udvash, we get the word echad, oneness. It's that consciousness of Israel that we experience when we either think about Israel, dwell in the land of Israel, come to visit Israel. And I'm not just speaking for myself, I'm speaking for so many people who have come through my door and just shared with me the following. They say, I just can't explain it. I just feel more alive and vibrant and spiritual and connected in Israel. It's an energetic phenomenon. So when you live with the awareness of God's oneness, miracles become your lifestyle. So Rosh Hashanah is a time, Elul, leading up to Rosh Hashanah, the month of Elul on the Jewish calendar, is a time when we're told that the king is in the field. God is in the field, right? Elul is a Rosh Tevot, the first letter of every word, the first letter of, if you take all the letters of the word Elul, it's a acronym for Ani ledodi vedodi li. I am to my beloved and my beloved is to me. It's that oneness, it's that unity, it's that face-to-face relationship, right? And so having God in the field, having God in our realm, right here, right now, around us, surrounding us, within us, closer to us than ever, it means that our co-creative potential during the month of Elul is exponentially more powerful now because God is literally dwelling in our homes, in our hearts, in the most revealed way. Living with this God consciousness of creative possibility 24/7 is the ultimate manifestation of them all. It opens up channels for all the other intentions that you have. But that experience of oneness, that experience that God is infinite, that experience of living under a open faucet of infinite abundance 24/7, you lead with that mindset, things will just fall into place. It's inevitable. The Zohar states that when you live with faith in God, your manifestations reveal themselves. It's knowing that you set an intention, you can let go of the outcome. Your job is not to figure out the how. Let God do his job. It's when you ask and ask and ask and ask with the neediness to know when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen. That lack of faith is how we block our intention from manifesting. The holy Jewish sage, the Baal Shem Tov, says that if a person immediately, with the words emerging from his or her mouth, has faith, believes that the prayer is being heard, then such a prayer is answered immediately. So it's not enough to just ask. Ask, coupled with belief, creates results. Rosh Hashanah is a time to plant seeds of intentions, to ask, to get clear, to declare what you want to create of yourself for the upcoming year. How do you want your year to look? How would you like to show up in the world? Who would you like to meet? What would you like to accomplish? What would you like to let go of? Where would you like to go? How would you like to feel? What character trait would you like to work on? Start small. Pick one thing. Don't try to climb Mount Everest overnight. And at the same time, know that you can be unapologetic about what it is you intend to manifest. I invite you to dream bigger than big. So muster up all the faith you have and then let go of your expectation on how that thing will manifest. Have the faith that God during Elul is not only working his magic from up high, but he's working his magic from down low, in your home, in your hearts. Rav David Hashir, in his book Living Emunah, he says that you don't need to be creative to figure out how what you want is going to work out. God is much more creative than you are. Your job is to just tell God what you want and then pray for it, with the understanding that he can create any solution you've never, ever imagined. And that should give you peace of mind because it's not in your hands. You don't have the ability to think of the solution yourself. I like to think of this act of surrender, of letting go of the how as a metaphor to being at a restaurant. When you go to a restaurant, waiter approaches you, you place your order. The waiter places your order into a computer so that the chef in the kitchen can receive it and start working on it. And you go about doing whatever you're doing at your dinner table, talking to the people you're with, checking your phone, daydreaming, whatever it is you're doing. But you're not sitting there nagging the waiter. Well, maybe some people do, I don't know. But ideally, you're not sitting there nagging the waiter, asking him every 5 seconds, is the meal ready yet? Is my meal ready yet? Is my meal ready yet? What are they doing in the kitchen? How are they preparing my food? Right? What is every single ingredient they're putting in my dish? How long will it take to arrive? You're not doing that. You're sitting there knowing, assuming your meal is going to arrive because you placed your order. Similarly, when setting an intention leading up to Rosh Hashanah, that should be your mindset. Set your intention. And it doesn't mean that you're not supposed to do daily action steps in the direction of your intention, but your inner space, meaning your emotional landscape, how you feel about the outcome, should not be of your concern. Internally, emotionally, you should feel relaxed and at ease, knowing that your husband, your home, the money, the health is coming. If God can create the heavens and the earth, how easy is it for him to shower you with your dreams, your purpose, your potential? But what does it actually mean that God is king? Right? What a weird concept. Like today, we wouldn't go up to someone and put a crown on their head and say, King of my life, I crown you now. So I heard a beautiful piece of Torah shared to me by one of our listeners. He said, we know that God is all compassionate. He's giving, nurturing, merciful, and kind. So if we imagine that we are praising these divine attributes rather than necessarily praising a crown, right, we can begin to conceptualize making God king. So the focus is more on these attributes of compassion, love, giving, unconditionally, nurturing, mercy. So I welcome you to take advantage of this divine opportunity. Put your pen to paper and set your intentions clearly. In Hebrew, the word for intention is kavanah. Kavanah is intention. And the word that's hidden in kavanah is kivun, which means direction. And a word that's hidden in kivun is kav, which means straight line. You send your intentions in the direction of a straight line towards God. Let him show up and create a miracle. You are a tightrope walker. Walk your manifestation tightrope. See your desired outcome at the end of that rope. Know that forces are going to come in, right? Whiny children, tantrums, shalom bait issues, arguments between husband and wife, health, whatever. Stuff may show up and try to push you off your tightrope. So your job is to accept what is, get back on your tightrope, and continue to see your why. What is it at the end of the tightrope? Again, forget about the how. Focus on the why. Again, like a father to a child, God wants you to succeed. God is not only perceived as king, he's perceived as a father who wants to give. In dark times, God is the light at the end of the tunnel. My son's name is Aviel Or, which means God, my father, is light. Our sages say that when you live with that clarity that God is my father and he is all light, nothing can ever go wrong. And there's a lot around coming back to your soul state as a new baby. Even as adults, if we can get back to that soul state, that baby state where anything is possible. There is no impossibility. I see my kids, they are just limbs running wild in the playground. Nothing is impossible, right? They want to be a princess or a superhero. All they have to do on Purim is put on that costume and they become that, right? For kids, they're a blank slate. Possibility is their nature. And that is the real essence of tshuva, which we're asked to do more of this month. Tshuva is a returning to that childlike innocence, returning to that state before we adopted limiting beliefs from our society, our culture, parents, friends, teachers, right? It's going back to the beginning of that innocence. In fact, tshuva is known as the ultimate tikkun, the ultimate fixing of one's soul, spiritual fixing. And tikkun, that spiritual fixing, if we turn around the letters, we see tinok, which is baby. So the tikkun is to get back to being a tinok. I'll leave you with a short parable. Imagine you wake up every day with $86,400 in your bank account. Sounds good, doesn't it? Now, imagine that this money has a shelf life. At the end of every night, it disappears again, whether you've spent the money or not. Every day, you get another $86,400 to spend before the day is done. The big question is, what would you do with it? You'd probably try not to waste it. Maybe you would even get better over time at using it more wisely. Every day, 86,400 seconds are deposited into your life account. At the end of every day, once the seconds are all used up, you get a new 86,400 seconds for the next day. We would never want to waste our money foolishly. So why are we wasting our time? Those seconds are so much more powerful than dollars. You can make more dollars, but you can't make more time.